So we must do two things, two great things together to encompass that enormous new view that lies before us, but to encompass it within the framework of science, to see it within the whole categorical framework of science, and to see that these two are not separate, but that they are wedded. The bigness of the idea, the newness of the idea, the greatness of it is one with the structure of science, the structure of being itself. We have a beautiful, beautiful future ahead of us. All right, closely related to that issue of cooperation is the way that love knows, and the way that love solves problems. The method within us of love, how we will know, how we know from love's standpoint. For instance, how would love make a decision? How do we make a decision now? An ethical decision on how to act. Love will approach every situation, every decision, by considering the whole community. Love makes a decision that involves the whole community, that is best for the whole community, that involves the environment. It takes the whole environment in one complex equation. Love's way of knowing, therefore, is characterized by contextual knowing. Love knows the whole context, takes the whole context in. Connected knowing. Collaborative discourse. You see how that can come in when we drop the sense of competition, move into the field of cooperation. Then you have a cooperating where the whole community is working together, where you have a context, connection, where there is collaboration, working together, seeing the situation as a web of interconnectedness with a sense, a responsibility, if you want to say a moral responsibility, or a sense of responsibility and care. That we bring a sense of care to the thing and not just make a decision. Just make a decision, the quickest one you can, or the one that is the most beneficial to you, you see. But love says, now every decision is the best decision for everyone, for the whole, for all. And so it will emphasize connection over separation, acceptance and understanding over assessment and criticism, collaboration over debate, and knowledge from first-hand experience. These are from an author by the name of Gilligan, Carol Gilligan, in her book entitled In a Different Voice. In a Different Voice. So what was the last one I gave you? Collaboration over debate? knowledge from first-hand experience. I love that, because to love, everything is always subjective, isn't it? Subject and object are one. Love is always one with its idea, and that's the tone that we have here, that the knowing is from first-hand experience. It isn't theoretical. It isn't theoretical. And so love will never impose one's own expectations on the situation, one's own requirements on that decision. You can hear that we were talking about contextual thinking, connected knowledge, collaborative discourse. This is love's integrated being, isn't it? Behind that is the fact that love is integrated being. Seeing life as a web of connection, of interconnection, having the responsibility of caring, gives one the sense that love's halo rests on its object, that love never loses sight of loveliness, and therefore there can't be any separation when love considers the question of knowing, the question of making a decision, of how to act in a certain situation. That love never loses sight of loveliness, and so it is always going to look at the connectedness of everything, the oneness of everything, of accepting, we said, understanding, not criticizing. There's no sense of criticizing there. There is no separation between love and love's idea. Love is one with its idea. Love is involved. To love, subject and object are one. Those are the divine truths that we know, the scientific truths that we know that will form this new way of knowing and acting and deciding. With love, they can see that that a whole new logic is coming in, a logic that is not an either-or logic, but a both-and logic. Both-and. So either-or thinking goes out. Either it has to be this way, or it has to be that way. But with love, it's both this way and that way. Love takes in all possibilities. Love allows for all possibilities. Where is that? Yes, that's so good in regard to problem solving with love. How love will problem solve, because it's a shifting away now from a one-dimensional sense or from a linear approach to problem solving to a non-linear and multi-dimensional approach. Love has all to do with multiplicity, with variety, with taking in all possibilities. To problem solve with love is to utilize the process of circumambulation. You know that term, circumambulation? Of circling around the problem. Circling around the problem. To look at it from all sides. And look at it from all sides in order to see all of its relationships. You see, because when all of its relationships are seen, when all of its aspects are seen, the problem as a problem disappears. When you see all the aspects, huh? So that to love a problem is an opportunity. It's one of love's opportunities, to look at something from all sides. So love wants to compass whatever its object is, doesn't it? To compass or to encompass. Compass is a lovely word because it gives us all the points, all the possibilities. It's that love wants to take in the whole of the complexity of the issue, and not just one aspect or a few aspects, or just look at it from a certain standpoint, from a certain standpoint. So love accepts that multi-dimensional sense, the multiplicity, we could call it. And the way that looks in a very down-to-earth situation is that in a problem, or a problem is a creative activity, isn't it? Whenever you have a creative act going on, that's a problem. And it's positive. It's a positive problem. And if an apparent contradiction comes up, another viewpoint, somebody brings another viewpoint in, that which may look adversarial. Say somebody brings something in and ordinarily we wouldn't agree with it at all, wouldn't give it what the time of day. Don't like that person anyway. And we say, oh, how stupid, I would never think of doing that. We're not going to do that. Or where did that come from? That came out of left field. That's ridiculous. And he just wants to make trouble. He just wants to rock the boat. And, all that kind of response is not love. Love says, come on in. Come on in. Bring it in. Bring it in. Love takes it in. Whatever it is. Even if it's adversarial. Because with love's method, love sees and knows no enemy. There's no enemy. Only friends to love. And so, how can love do that? How can love maintain that equipoise, that equanimity, in the face of something that would ordinarily be construed as adversarial? Love asks, how might both of these aspects, both of these standpoints, be valuable, be valid? How might the new perspective be valid to the whole question, even though I had a completely different perspective when I started? See? So the method of love is to ask, what can I learn from the other aspect? What can I learn from that aspect that might show me the holistic, that will bring me the holistic solution, the perfect solution, the complete solution? You see, it's that circumambulating all around the problem, allowing. You hear love? To allow, to let, to accept, to take in, to compass, to hold, to enfold, is all love. Even if it looks like it is something that is against us. I suppose even if it looks like you're working that thing out with someone who isn't cooperating or who wants to compete, that doesn't invalidate that we can have the method of love, that our character is the love character and therefore operates with love's method to acknowledge the value of another perspective. That would mean that the love standpoint must be absolutely impersonal, huh? It would have to be an impersonal standpoint. And love can value that other perspective without committing itself 100% to that perspective alone. You see, if you take something in, if love takes something in, love isn't saying, oh yes, that's it, and only that is the answer. Only that is the answer. But love allows everything to come in and to restructure, to reorient as it circumambulates around the problem. It sees it from different angles, different sides. It's a restructuring, so to say, of the problem. And so it takes the best of every perspective to work that out. Isn't that beautiful? Mm-hmm. Isn't that a different way?
All-inclusive love.
Then you're not fighting always with somebody. Fighting with an enemy, with a foe, with someone who is not working with you. Everyone's working with you, even your enemies, so-called, because they're not enemies to you. They're not enemies to love's standpoint.
Is that what love line enemy means?
I actually have had some experiences like that, some wonderful, wonderful experiences. So you get your critics become your best friends. John Doyle had that experience when he was putting so much into the work with the days of creation and the word order, and he said the word order this and the word order that, and it's in the textbook, and it's the order that Mrs. Eddy gives on page 465 and so forth. And back comes a letter from the Mother Church. Yes, but there are 2 other orders. What did he do? Say, no, I don't want to know that. I don't want to hear that. And I'm going to absolutely ignore. I'm going to forget that I heard that. Have you ever had anybody say to you, I'm going to forget that I heard that? He immediately said, he took it in, huh? He took it in. He said, yes, that's right, there are 2 other orders. And that led him to the greater solution. Huh? He took it in and widened the whole field of consciousness to the more perfect solution, to the perfect solution of seeing actually not even 3, but 4 orders. So love doesn't see criticism, it sees another aspect, and it allows that aspect to come in as a part of the solution. So we really get, so we say, well, now I wonder how this will bless me. This is going to bless me. So we have that adventure, I'll call it an adventure of love, in every creative activity, to see how we are blessed by everything that comes in to that picture. Again, we see why love is able to do that because love is itself totally integrated. It is all-sufficient, self-sufficient. It has therefore no lack of place values. It has infinite disposal, as we said. And this has to become our disposition, our attitude, our character, our nature, that we have infinite disposal. I've got to stop now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is the love response.